Good morning. It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa following Alabama's 31-29 victory over the Florida Gators. Going to pipe in some Dan Mullen, going to pipe in some Nick Saban. Going to talk about the top teams in college football. Who can beat Alabama other than Georgia? I want to hear from you inside the comment box. Here is Dan Mullen following the loss to Alabama. Playing Alabama close the last 2 years. Credit to Dan Mullen. Here's Dan Mullen following the game.
Dan, you've played these guys as close as anybody's played them the last two times with two really, I guess, disparate sort of offensive approaches, at least. Why is that? Why are you so much trouble for these guys?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think one thing a lot of teams play Alabama, and I think they sometimes don't think they're going to win the game. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, our guys certainly they certainly expected to win the game. Played that way. We did last year. We did this year. I think that's maybe a big part of it. I think our guys here. You come to Florida, our guys are excited. Where we're headed as a program, I think. I talked about it when I got here. I want a team that can compete for championships on a consistent basis. And to do that, to compete for championships, you're going to have to beat Alabama. And as everybody said last year, what's the margin? Last year it was 6 points. This year it's 2, and hopefully we get one more shot at it and get an opportunity to compete for another championship as we move forward. But, that's what we want to be as a program. And that's what our guys, how we prepare and we expect heading out there on the field.
Dan Mullen following the loss to Alabama. Let's kind of glance in at Alabama's first 3 games. Defeated Miami in the opener 44-13, then defeated Mercer 48-14. Defeated Florida in week 3 31-29. And kind of when we zoom into Alabama and Florida, what went right, what went wrong, you kind of zoom in and you look at the statistical performance, and I thought it was another solid game from Bryce Young. And I think if you're out there, you're like, what solid game? I don't think he was perfect, but I think what we've seen from Bryce Young in the first 3 games of the season is he has an ability to make plays, very calm, and he doesn't make mistakes. 22 of 35, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns against Florida. And I thought there was times where he showed inaccuracy. I have some statistics brought up that I want to talk to you about regarding Bryce Young's downfield efficiency. He's actually just 12% throwing passes that are 20 yards down the field. With that said, on the season, he's thrown 9 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Emory Jones for Florida, 18 of 28, 195 yards. Look, I don't think Emory Jones is the best quarterback in the SEC. I don't even think he's the top, 6 or 7. But, I mean, he orchestrated an offense under Dan Mullen that was effective against the Crimson Tide. And I know a lot of people kind of point to Pete Golding for every single thing that goes wrong within the Alabama program. I want to hear from you inside the comment box. Do you feel that Pete Golding is to blame for Florida rushing for 245 yards off 43 carries? Pierce had 24 yards. Wright had 58 yards. Emory Jones had 77 yards. And then Malik Davis had 86 yards. Sign off in the comment box. Look, I want to ask you out there, if you're listening, I'm going to go Georgia, Oklahoma, Oregon, Iowa, Clemson, Texas A&M. I want to talk to you about each of these teams, and I want to hear from you inside the comment box. Which team do you feel could beat Alabama? Is there one out there other than Georgia? I want to hear from you inside the comment box. Georgia, the first 3 games of the season, 3-0 on the season after a 40-13 victory over South Carolina. Week 1, they beat Clemson 10-3, beat UAB 56-7, 40-13 against South Carolina in week 3. You look at JT Daniels against South Carolina, 23 of 31, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns with 1 interception. Milton had 66 yards. Cook had 51 yards. Zamir White had 51 yards. When you look at Georgia kind of all over, I think that this team clearly has the talent every single year to beat Alabama, right? Every single year. I mean, Kirby Smart does a great job, defensive-minded coach. I think they've just been missing a quarterback. Is JT Daniels going to be that guy that can lead Georgia past Alabama? Is he going to be that guy that can lead Georgia to a national championship? JT Daniels on the season, 45 of 61, 438 yards, 73 completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season thus far. I want to hear from you. Do you think Georgia has enough talent on both sides of the ball? Maybe that's an easy question. Let me ask you this. Do you think JT Daniels is the quarterback that can beat Alabama? Do you think JT Daniels is a quarterback that can lead Georgia to a natty? Okay. Let's talk about Oklahoma. 3-0 on the season. They beat Tulane in a wild one, 40-35. That game originally scheduled to be at Tulane. It was moved to Oklahoma, so it's at Norman Stadium, and 40-35, okay? So, it's back and forth, 75 total points in that game. Nothing, that you don't really expect because it's Oklahoma and their defense, right? Then they beat Western Carolina 76-0, and then they play Nebraska, and I get it. It's a rivalry game, 23-16. A lot of people starting to call for the backup quarterback behind Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler, 24 of 34, 214 yards, it's just one touchdown. Adrian Martinez on the other side, 19-25, 289 yards with a touchdown. Do you think that this Oklahoma team is better than years past Oklahoma's team? I don't. Specifically, not yet. I know it's early in the season. They certainly have playmakers all over the place like they usually do. But, I just, Nebraska, I'm not impressed with them. I haven't been in several years. 23-16, I know it's a rivalry game. Still not impressed, with Oklahoma at this point. Let's talk about the Oregon Ducks, number 4. 3-0 on the season. It was a little bit closer than I felt it was going to be against Stony Brook in that first half of the game, but they did beat Stony Brook by a score of 48-7. Now, of course, the win over Ohio State at Ohio State definitely stands out. 35-28, that was an action-packed environment. To be able to go down there to win against Ohio State, that certainly impresses. And I think that Verdell, their running back, 54 yards last night. What he did against Ohio State, clearly one of the most dynamic running backs in the country. Dye had 87 yards. And I think that this Oregon team led by Mario Cristobal is an interesting team to keep tabs on as we kind of go forward because Anthony Brown at quarterback, I think what we've seen from him thus far, 567 yards, 4 touchdowns, he's playing pretty good football. And when you look to Oregon overall and you kind of look at their the rest of their schedule, I think that it's going to be intriguing to see if they can continue this momentum, which I think they're going to. I think that Oregon is certainly one of the teams who we have to keep tabs on. Everyone's going to maybe point to the fact that they're in the Pac-12 or whatever. But look, this is a good team. They got Arizona, Stanford, Cal, UCLA, Colorado, Washington, Washington State. It'll be interesting, I guess, when they pair up, let's say Stanford or UCLA. I don't know. Sound off in the comment box against Oregon. I guess they are a mildly interesting team. I guess they're number 3, right? I would probably put them ahead of Oklahoma. I want to hear from you. Iowa, also 3-0 on the season. They beat Indiana in the opener, 34-6. Beat Iowa State 27-17, and then beat Kent State by a score of 30-7. What do you think about Iowa? Do you think that this is a team out of the Big Ten that can be a real contender when you kind of move forward in the college football season? They got a game next with Maryland. Be interested to see how they match up with Talia Tungavailoa. Talia's been hot for Maryland and Terps under Coach Loxley. And they got a big matchup with Penn State. Penn State just beat Auburn in a really good game on Saturday evening. Okay. Next team I want to talk about is Clemson. What do you think about Clemson? The Tigers under DJ Yongelele, right? 2-1 on the season, 14-8 against Georgia Tech. I think that game and the first game of the season, they really stand out to me. What's going on with this Clemson team? DJU, 18 of 25, 126 yards, no touchdowns, okay? It's a big drop-off, clearly, from Trevor Lawrence. We knew that was going to happen, but, it's interesting that Alabama can go from Jalen Hurts to Tua to Mac Jones, now to Bryce Young, and they don't skip a beat. And you're telling me that with all this recruiting power and everything that you have at Clemson, you still don't have a quarterback that can step up and take the reins. You look at DJ in the first game against Georgia, 19 of 37, 178 yards with no touchdowns. Okay, so DJ's stats on the season, 475 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, a QBR rating on ESPN of 43.6. That's 88th in the entire country. That's not good, okay? So I don't feel that Clemson is as good as they've been in the years past, and it clearly points to the position at quarterback. Who else do they have? Maybe DJ's the guy. I want to hear from you. Do you think that this Clemson team has taken a significant step back? I certainly do, but I think that they're going to be able to win the ACC still because the ACC is down as they usually are, okay? Let's talk about the Texas A&M Aggies. Now, I feel that from what I've seen from Texas A&M, and I know their quarterback got hurt against Colorado, but I certainly feel that this team has some very dynamic athletes on the outside edge. Some guys that can be a really big problem for Alabama or for anybody during the college football season. I mean, Spiller, that guy is he's a ninja, so to speak. 15 carries, 117 yards with 1 touchdown. Demas had 100 yards receiving against New Mexico. And then, they have some other playmakers that are just very dangerous on the outside. So, the new quarterback is going to be Zach Calzada, 6'4", 210 pounds. In the 2 games that he's seen action this season, 458 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So I think the quarterback play is going to be of significance for Texas A&M because I do think that they have the athletes. I do think that their defense is probably better than last year. So Texas A&M is certainly a team that I kind of think, could this be the team? Could Jimbo really string it together this year? And really, curious to see how they play the remainder of these next couple games, especially against Alabama on October the 9th. But coming up for Texas A&M, you got Mississippi State, and then you got Alabama. So everybody's going to be really zoomed in on that Alabama versus Texas A&M game. So look, I want to put this. I want to put this out there. Who out there can beat Alabama other than Georgia? Sound off in the comment box. Definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you more than you know. Thank you very much for being a part of BamaInsider.com. Stick around for tons of coverage coming your way on BamaInsider.com.